Brian Sullivan. I'm the president of the Nassau County Correctional Officers Benevolent Association. Behind me are members of my executive and delegate board and several of our members that are here to support the statement that I'm going to make today. I'm going to read a prepared statement, then at the end, if you could possibly save your questions until the end, then I'll take any questions that you have. Again, my name is Brian Sullivan, Nassau County Correctional Officers Benevolent Association. A year and a half ago, Vera Flood replaced embattled Sheriff Michael Spizzato as the Sheriff of Nassau County. Allegedly, Sheriff Flood was only going to be here temporarily until a fully qualified and suitable law enforcement professional could be brought in. The priority at that time, as always, is jail safety. At that time, I actually supported her appointment, but stressed that she must surround herself with qualified people, be given the proper tools, and bring dignity back to this once great department and workforce. Since then, we have been playing an endless game of musical chairs with internal support staff and outsiders who were brought in to bring credibility to Sheriff Flood's administration and operational knowledge to address the myriad of problems that we have. A year and a half later, those individuals who were brought in have either jumped ship or expressed their intent to leave. Their departures are attributable only to managerial incompetence above them and an inability to implement any improvements. When appointed, Vera Flood was touted as a career correction professional, having come up through the ranks. While true in title, the reality is much different. If you remember, Michael Spizzato, originally a jail cook at our facility, was referred to as the cook with a hook who became the sheriff. He had no law enforcement experience whatsoever and then went on to systematically dismantle this once great department, leaving it in the shambles that it is today. What was not publicized about Vera Flood upon her appointment was that for more than half of her career, Vera Flood served as a secretary for the office of the sheriff for Sheriff Spizzato and his predecessor, Sheriff Ed Riley, dating back to the early 2000s. In reality, today the Nassau County Sheriff's Department, the largest metropolitan correctional facility in New York State, replaced the cook with a hook with the cook's secretary as the Sheriff of Nassau County. If that wasn't enough, the cook's other secretary was named by Vera Flood as Deputy Under-Sheriff of Nassau County. So if you're keeping score, as of today, there are 3 actual administrators in the Nassau County Sheriff's Department. Not one of them has any administrative operational experience whatsoever, and 2 of them are former receptionists of the old sheriff, aided by 2 attorneys who run block for them on every issue. This was apparently the answer after years of insanity under Spizzato and the Arbor medical debacle that left 13 inmates dead in the last 5 years of Spizzato's tenure. With the current administration disaster playing itself out, the following dangerous weapons have recently been confiscated by our officers who diligently perform their jobs every day with absolutely no backing from or confidence in the jail administration. I have photos of weapons that were confiscated here just within the last 2 weeks. I'm sure you also recently saw a photograph and the officer, Daniel Holland, who we supported in court, who was viciously assaulted by a dangerous felon. This was just a couple of weeks ago where we were in district court. This is what really goes on behind the walls of a correctional facility. This is what our officers deal with every day. While our officers continue to do their jobs, our administrators fiddle with no idea of how to run this facility effectively, efficiently, or safely. Because of administrative ineptitude, ranking union members are currently forced to perform administrative operational duties because no one in the administration wants to put their name on anything problematic, instead heaping the blame on our bargaining unit members. This sheriff apparently thinks our contract and bargaining unit work rights are also only recommendations that don't necessarily have to be followed. State labor law has been regularly violated under Sheriff Flood when it comes to providing proper meal reliefs, even though they were put on notice by the Department of Labor to cease that activity. Despite repeated attempts to clarify policies and procedures, a unit that has also yet to be restaffed, by the way, we only hear, we'll take that under advisement, or we'll let you know. With particular emphasis on what this department's procedure should be when we discover dangerous and potentially deadly substances such as fentanyl or other narcotics in the jail, which we do find regularly, this indifference by our sheriff and the administration is unacceptable. Along with numerous other issues that our members continue to lack proper training in, they are not trained in the handling of such substances and are not issued protective equipment, even though sheriff's orders state that they should be. Our department's budget office is also in disgrace. For the second year in a row, HVAC contracts were mishandled. That's the quote they gave us, leaving several of our housing areas with no air conditioning during these hot summer months. This is not being fixed because it would cost money. Realize we have no windows in a jail. That's the purpose of being a jail. This creates a dangerous and volatile environment for our staff, who are in sweltering dormitories with dangerous inmates for the second summer in a row. Actually, attributable to nothing but incompetence or deliberate indifference. Going back to the beginning of Sheriff Flood's administration, things were going to be different from that of Mike Spazzato. But the same playbook is being used. Routinely, our officers are not provided with the proper protective equipment, such as stab-resistant vests, as our recent recruit graduates were upon their graduation from the training academy. Facility-wide contraband searches have yet to be implemented, even though our facility is obviously riddled with weapons. Managerial and budgetary incompetence has resulted in our criminal and gang investigators being routinely redeployed to work security posts in an effort to curb overtime, taking them away from their investigative duties regarding crimes committed in the jail, such as assaults on officers and inmates, weapons possession, and our already highly publicized investigations related to gang activity on Long Island. Instead of working criminal cases, these people are working posts. Sheriff Flood was supposed to provide for the searching of delivery trucks and loading docks at the jail to help stem the flow of contraband into our facility, but sadly, too, that has gone by the wayside. Former Undersheriff Alfonso Albright, who just resigned 2 weeks ago, was in charge of implementing TSA-style scanners for use by our visiting units to root out contraband, as well as providing for much-needed supervisor training that doesn't exist here. He's gone now, and who knows where those projects are. Cameras that were installed in certain areas of our facility to be used as safety and surveillance equipment are instead being used as devices to intimidate staff, as recently evidenced by the unwarranted discipline of former officers in a manner of discipline that is not permissible under our contract. Yes, the sheriff violated our contract, which we firmly believe is an intimidation tactic to prevent staff from speaking out against incompetence and mismanagement. Fingerprint software that was supposed to be provided to our ID unit for the more efficient on-site arrest of dangerous and assaultive inmates is yet to be implemented after over a year and a half. Sheriff Flood promised to increase training for our officers, training that was cut to almost nothing under Spazzato, actually exposing this department to a myriad of liability issues. What she actually did was try to decrease training for our recruits until the union stepped in and stopped it. The only positive things that have occurred were the placing of new officers on our emergency response team and an upgrade of our in-house computer system. The CERT team was only done after continual public browbeating by this union to provide this necessary and long overdue safety team. The newer, but not new, computer system was put in because the old system was actually falling apart, crumbling to pieces. Several new vehicles were delivered to the department a few months ago, but have yet to be put in service due to mishandled paperwork. Our members are still transporting inmates in Flintstone mobiles, but the sheriff is working on her fourth brand new department head car in over a year and a half. Now I know the anticipated response to all the claims I've made above will be that this union is acting out because of contract negotiations or some other inane excuse that the county will make. Anyone who has ever dealt with this union under my tenure knows this to be patently untrue. My motto has always been, you can never go wrong if you're telling the truth. We're here to expose daily mismanagement and incompetence that, if left uncorrected, with the examples we have shown here, is going to cause someone to get seriously hurt or killed in this environment. The department is not involved in contracts. We negotiate with the county. Our issues are with the department here today. Unqualified administrators, failure to address policies and procedural problems, failure to address contraband issues, failure to staff, equip, and properly train our staff, numerous mishandled budget issues, deliberate indifference to stifling working conditions, violations of our contract, violations of labor law, violations of the county charter, violations of election law, misuse of trained investigators, endangering the processing of criminal cases and gang investigations, projects left undone, unattended, or unfinished, intimidation tactics, and scapegoating. Plain and simple, mismanagement and incompetence. I worked here almost 31 years, and this has gotten old. I'm so sick and tired of dealing with incompetence and disingenuous administrators and their lackey attorneys. In comparison, the Nassau County Police Department runs like a well-oiled machine. Sure, they have their issues, but in that department, when this happens, you do that. When that happens, you do this. There's a policy and a tool for every eventuality. Everyone knows their job and they are properly trained and equipped for the dangerous job that they do. In the Sheriff's Department, every time something happens, it's like the first time they've ever seen it. This is a very dangerous and libelous game to continue to play time after time. Michael Sposato, former sheriff, was a disaster. He left the county holding the bag for his family. Unfortunately, his replacement and secretary, Vera Flood, and her administration have also failed miserably and needs to go. Your Nassau County Correction Officers and the residents of Nassau County deserve much better than this. We need trained professional administrators to run this event. That's my statement. I'll take any questions. Anybody have a question? Good. Okay.